My name's Nicole Preventis. I am the Adobe Sales Manager located at the sole distributor for education software in North America. So I'm actually in Wisconsin right now. It's 7 a.m. here. And I lead a team of 6 sales reps that do nothing but support the channel. So we actually worked with Stephen and his colleagues at the Education Center and as well as your reseller to make sure that you guys got this purchase and got what you needed. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. Now, I did load this deck. There's a shared Google link that I believe you guys can all access the decks that are being used this week there. I'm also, after this, going to add a few other PDFs that I'll reference, just so you know you can find it all there afterwards. So here's our agenda for today. I'm going to start with just kind of an overview of what you guys purchased. Then I'm going to talk about what apps are in there and what really goes together well, because a lot of people know just say Photoshop, right? But what about everything that works really well with Photoshop? So just making sure you utilize the whole product. Then I'm going to talk about creativity on the go. There's a lot of free mobile apps that you guys get access to, as well as some premium mobile apps that you only get access to if you pay for the Creative Cloud, which you guys did. Then I'm going to shift to the actual login process so that you guys know how to get in and use this stuff. And I'll talk about resources to make you successful. And of course, we'll save time for Q&A at the end, but I want you to interrupt me as we go. What I'll probably do is stop after each section and just see what kind of questions we've had come up. I know the target audience for this is grades 9 to 12, but I will reference younger grades just in case this presentation wants to be shared with others, because really the idea with Adobe is to scaffold their learning and their creativity from the ground up. So just so that you guys know why I'm referencing it, even though it might not be applicable to you. So first up is, what exactly are you getting? What did you buy? You guys have what we call the K12 Named User License Program. So this is what the Nova Scotia education system purchased, 3,000 licenses to be exact. What this is it's the full Creative Cloud. So this can be used for faculty, staff, and students, and it's a named user license. So what that means is we've always had that lab license, right, where it's tied to the computer, students come and go throughout the day, and it doesn't matter how many students touch the computers, but even before COVID hit, it was getting to be kind of antiquated, right? We want students to be able to create on the go. What if they had, what if you were a one-to-one institution? What if you were BYOD? There were lots of reasons why we brought the named user license down to the K-12 space, because they can download it as many times as they want. So that means, let's say you do go back to campus at some point. It can be in the lab. It can be on their personal laptop. It can be at grandma's house when they go for Christmas. They can download it as many times as they want, and it allows for 2 simultaneous logins. So even though they can be downloaded on 5 computers, it can only be logged into 2 at a time. What happens if they go to the 3rd computer is you get this pop-up screen that says, hey, you're logged in on these 2 other computers. Can we kick you out of one? You choose which one to get kicked out of, and you proceed to work. So it's just amazing, the named user license with the flexibility it offers, that ability to work anywhere. And this license, it does not matter if it is a Windows or a Mac. It'll run on anything but a Chromebook, okay? Chromebooks do not support Creative Cloud. They just aren't robust enough, but I will touch later on what can be used on a Chromebook. So what is in Creative Cloud? Well, we know Creative Cloud's the platform for creativity. Everybody knows that. It provides the tools and the applications to help unleash your students' creativity. It drives engagement, it builds critical skills, and it really comes down to 5 categories. There's presentations, videos, photos, web and app design, and then creating illustrations. So within each of those buckets, there's a lot of applications, and I know this is probably hard to see. So I'm actually going to walk you through every single application that you guys get. So in the presentations bucket is Spark. And I'm going to cover Spark on its own later. So I'm going to kind of skip past that one for now. But in presentations, you have InDesign. InDesign is what you use to create layout. So I use InDesign actually to do a weekly newsletter. It's really easy to create, little boxes and put different information in those boxes. So it's a layout tool. In Copy, you can make text edits and layout modifications. So it's a good partner with InDesign. They go really well together. It's really about making the layout and just making it more impactful. And then you've got Acrobat Pro. Everybody knows Adobe Acrobat. It's the industry leading standard for PDF creation tools, mainly because of how compliant and private it is. We know there's a ton of free PDF services out there. There's some that you pay for, but nothing is as COPPA, FERPA, HIPAA. I mean, you name the acronym, it's compliant. It's that private. So moving on to illustrations. Adobe Illustrator is your number one. You can create vector-based graphics and illustrations for every single media, print, web, video. It's your creating from scratch tool. Then there's also mobile apps involved with that I will cover in its own section. Videos is our most robust category. So when it comes to creating videos, the industry standard is Premiere Pro, the second one listed there. Premiere Pro has been used to create the new Spider-Man movie. It was used in one of, I'm blanking on the, Billie Eilish's music video, Kendrick Lamar music video. There was, it's the movie with the blue, I can't think of the name of the movie. But it's used in a lot of like true, your everyday entertainment industry. What we did a year and a half ago was create Premiere Rush, which is basically a simplified version of Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro is robust. I cannot figure it out. I cannot use it. It is too complicated for me. But Premiere Rush, I can. So basically what we did was we made it so that you can still get that great video editing quality without having to be a pro. And it's easy to do things online too. So Rush actually allows you to create a video that is instantly postable to social media. Within the video category, you've got Dimension. Dimension, I actually just saw in action on a recent webinar where you can actually create 3D images. So they were trying to create a flyer on recycling. And it actually on the left-hand side has things like bottles and boxes and gives you this 3D template to create really real images. It was amazing to watch. After Effects is for motion graphics. So think about it as once you've got your video in, it takes those visual effects to the next level. Audition is your audio tool. So a lot of music departments at a college will use this. It's your ability to record, mix, and restore audio, but it can be used for everything from film to a simple video. Prelude is the ability to streamline the import and logging of video in the format. So Prelude is more of a tool to support you when you're using, say, Premiere Pro and After Effects. Media Encoder is quickly output video files. This is one that just kind of runs in the background. It does its thing without you really even knowing. Character Animator is new as well. This one was in the last 2 years. You can actually do 2D artwork and bring it to life with animated characters. So think cartoons. And then again, we've got mobile apps in this category that I'll touch on later. In the photo category, everybody knows Photoshop. It's the Kleenex brand of imaging, right? You can edit composite images. You can create from scratch. You can even do 3D artwork and videos. I didn't know about the video. I mean, it's always been listed in the description, but I'd never seen it in action until a few weeks ago. We just got done with this educator series on education exchange that I'll fill you guys in on. And it was amazing to see he could actually create a video there. It's always nice to see these things in action, and I'll show you where you can do that in the future. Photoshop, Lightroom, and Lightroom Classic. So Lightroom Classic has been around forever. That's your ability to take a pre-existing photo and make edits to it, right? So let's say you take a photo and it's too dark, or you want to make something sharper or change the colors on it. That's where Lightroom comes in. Lightroom CC is the top one. Lightroom Classic is the one that's been around forever. You guys get both. Lightroom CC is the ability to use it anywhere. So that's the one that can run on your desktop, but it can also be used on your phone or your tablet. It can be used anywhere. Bridge allows you to search your photos and organize them within your Creative Cloud files. Capture CC is really nice because you can take a photo. Let's say you really like the color scheme of that billboard and you want to use that color scheme. You can actually take a photo and it will remember that color palette and help you convert it into your next Photoshop project. And then there's mobile apps here. Last but not least is web and app design. The one that's always been around is Dreamweaver and Animate at the bottom. Dreamweaver allows you to just develop, you create your website from scratch. Animate allows you to bring animations into that website. And XD is new. XD stands for Experience Design. It's about 1.5 years old. And this is really up and coming in the college space for, say, business and marketing majors. It allows you to prototype things. So without having to build the whole website, you can design and prototype it to give someone an idea. So think in your commercial space, XD would be a great tool to do a mock-up before someone's ready to buy and pay you to build their website. Flash Builder, you guys know that's always been around as the supportive tool for websites. And then Flash, Scout is what Flash used to be. So that allows you to do your games and some of your more robust graphics on web and devices. So this is my stopping point for this section. What questions do we have on what you guys are getting with your purchase?
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I don't teach technology education or any of the high school classes. Are there copies of the license available to teachers like myself, like a primary to 6 teacher?
Stephen, I'm going to defer to you on that.
Gail, there is, but the Regional Center for Education has to procure those additional licenses. So once those licenses are purchased from the Regional Center for Education, then they can be allocated to an organizational unit within the admin console. So it is possible. It's just up to the Regional Center for Education.
Can I ask one more question? So I purchased Creative Cloud as an individual. Will all of the things that you're talking about today be in that individual purchase?
Yeah, did you go to adobe.com to buy it?
Yes.
Yes, then everything that I'm talking about here will apply to you. The only difference is you will have more storage space than this purchase. So, and that I'm glad you asked that because it made me think of something. But the K12 purchase, the reason it's so affordable is because we minimize the storage capacity. Each student, each license get 2 gigabytes of cloud storage. We've found that that's plenty because most schools they want them, saving things to maybe say a Google Drive or somewhere else where you guys can access it anyway. The difference is, Gail, you'll get 100 gigabytes of cloud storage. That is the only difference.
Thanks for answering my question.
You bet. Any others before I move on? All right. So the next section is making sure you use this purchase to the best of your ability, right? Some of you may be brand new to Creative Cloud. Some of you may only know Photoshop. So that's why I want to make sure you know how things work together. The nice thing about even getting 2 gigabytes of cloud storage is that a lot of these apps talk to each other in the background. So I know I mentioned the media encoder kind of doing its own thing in the background. That's the wonderful part of having the full Creative Cloud suite. You get all the classics that you know. And Photoshop and Lightroom will talk to each other. You can start a project in one and move to the other. But in addition to those apps and the ones that I just covered, there's brand new apps that were just launched last November at Adobe Max. So the classics are everything I just covered. But the cutting edge includes 3 brand new apps that you guys get access to. Not everyone gets these. If you have a lab license purchase, you don't get this access. The first one is Arrow. Arrow is an all-in-one augmented reality tool. So you guys know the buzz right now is there's a lot of AR, VR, right? Virtual reality is a huge thing. Every trade show I went to last year had multiple booths on this topic. You can actually author and design augmented reality from this app. So you can actually publish immersive experiences in the real world. And my team played with this. We all have iPads, and it was kind of trippy at first. It takes a while to get used to, but you could actually create augmented reality. And like all of a sudden there was a little flower growing in the corner of the conference room. That is available on Apple only, unfortunately. Android devices will be coming soon, but if you have anybody with an iPhone or an iPad, the Arrow app will work on that. The second one is Fresco. Fresco is a painting app. You can literally go in and pick your paintbrush, and using your finger or stylus, it's like using watercolor paint. It is the coolest app I've ever used from Adobe. You can actually layer over it. Like the more you go over with the paintbrush, the darker it gets, like you're painting in real life. Fresco is available for free, but with the named user license you have, you get all the paintbrushes. So the free version, you get like 5 paintbrushes, but you guys will get all of them. That is available on iPads, Surface tablets, and Wacom devices. The last one is Photoshop for the iPad. This was the so awaited for app. It's the full Photoshop, but on an iPad. And only named user purchases get this access. And I'm not talking the free watered down version. It is the full Photoshop. So depending on what kinds of mobile devices you guys have or your students have, know that these cutting edge apps they're going to become more widely spread. They're going to be, Photoshop is going to come available for Android in the future, but they're so new that's why they're limited right now, but I didn't want to miss telling you guys about them. So how do these apps pair together? Well, for Photoshop, everyone knows Photoshop, right? The basic one. Use Lightroom with it, Classic or CC, or use Photoshop for the iPad. One of the guys on my team actually kind of dabbles in website development on the side, and he actually just last week he started a project on Photoshop for the iPad, then went to the Photoshop desktop version, and then went to Lightroom CC and made more edits. So you can use those 3 on the same project. Premiere Pro, that's that robust video tool. Use After Effects with it. It takes your visuals to the next level. Adobe Illustrator is for vector graphics. Remember, that's the one where you can create an image from scratch. Start it in Illustrator and then go to InDesign and finesse the page design or the layout. Prelude is video streaming. Use Prelude Live Logger. That's the iPad version. So you could take something on your desktop and then maximize it on your iPad. So all these apps are great standalone, but many of them are better together. And again, that goes back to this, where we talked about these buckets. If you're using one product in one of these buckets, don't be afraid to use another one. It's super easy once you save a project to access it from any one of your other apps. So any questions on how things pair together? All right, so now let's switch to on the go. What if, I used to, when I would switch to this section, I used to say, what if you're at your student softball game and a great idea strikes? Or what if you're at dinner? Well, we all know that that's not quite the norm anymore. But what if say you're one of those teachers on right now that doesn't have a license yet? What if you want to start using Creative Cloud and the free stuff while you wait for your regional center to make a purchase? That's where we have all these mobile apps. This list here is not even all inclusive. There's so much more than this. Acrobat Reader is so that you can read PDFs on your phone. Capture is the one that I talked about where you can take a photo and get your the color scheme that you want from a photo you saw while you were out. Adobe Comp lets you create real layouts using natural drawing gestures. So it's kind of like InDesign, but you use your finger and you draw a box and put 3 lines in it, and then that reserves that box for text. It's a super easy tool. I've used it more than once. The Adobe Creative Cloud icon is so you can get to everything in your storage from your phone. Illustrator Draw. So I talked about Illustrator, the full app. The Illustrator Draw is the mobile version. Again, you can create a free-form vector image right on your phone. Photoshop Fix and Photoshop Mix are my 2 favorites. So that's the lower left and then the upper right. Photoshop Fix lets you cut your tour guide out of your family photo. And then Photoshop Mix lets you take that family photo and make it look like you were on Mount Everest. I'm going to actually show you these in action in a minute. You've got Photoshop Lightroom for mobile. So this is that CC version that I said it's Lightroom, but now you can use it anywhere. Photoshop Sketch is another quick creating, images from scratch, like using a pencil. Portfolio allows you to get to all of your work and your folders that are available. Premiere Clip is a watered down, like a snippet of Premiere Pro for video editing. Adobe Scan I use all the time. This is one that you can take a photo of anything and it turns it into a PDF. So like when I get back from working a trade show, I use Scan to take photos of all my receipts, and then I can attach them to my expense report. Adobe Spark has 3 components that I'll cover in detail next. And then XD, that experience design that I talked about that's new for the prototyping of websites, that is available on mobile as well. Now, the one that is most important in the K-12 space is Spark. So Spark has always been free from Adobe, but the premium features are the best part, and that would have cost you $120. So Spark Premium is free for education. It's in the admin console, and Stephen and his colleagues can give it to anybody. It works with single sign-on. It's completely free and in addition to your Creative Cloud purchase. And it's unlimited. So even though you purchased a certain number of Creative Cloud, absolutely everybody can use Spark. It's a very low latency product, and it runs on any device with a web browser and is also available as a mobile app. So Spark is the thing that can be used on Chromebooks, phones, doesn't matter how old it is. If it has a web browser, you can use Spark. Spark has 3 components. Spark Post is for posters and graphics. I actually have a reseller I work with who's also a Boy Scout troop leader, and he creates all the Boy Scout advertisement posters using Spark Post. Spark Page is like a scrolling website. So it's an easy way to create a website without needing to be an expert at it. And then Spark Video is for animated videos and narrated stories. As an example of a Spark Video, my Adobe team here, the full Adobe team here is 21 people, and we sign a card for every single person's birthday. But with COVID, only a handful of us are in the office. So we've been doing instead, everyone find your favorite birthday meme and send it to me, and I create this little Spark video using that to wish everybody a happy birthday. Super easy. You can have photos and there's music available. You just plug it all in together. Here are some ideas on what you can do with Spark. Like I said, low latency. So this may be, this Spark is not only low latency, so we think, K through 8, K through 6, but it's also really good for your non-majors, your non-CTE or your non-core. So think history class, English class, extracurricular activities. You could do field trip reports, newsletters, athletics announcements, if anyone's having athletics next year. So far, I'm not hearing a lot of that. School marketing materials. You can actually add your school logo and colors right into Spark and do all your marketing that way. And it's super easy. PTA ads. I've even seen resumes and college applications built in Spark. So the ideas are endless with what you can do with Spark. Now, I'm not going to play this video, but in 20 minutes, I built a video using Spark which is photos. So I took photos of me volunteering. So I am a first responder volunteer with the Sports Car Club of America, which is playing with race cars, essentially. And I wanted to showcase what we do in the SCCA. So I created this video, and I didn't have to talk. I literally just did photos with text and music playing in the background. 38-second video, my first time using it, and it only took 20 minutes. This is Photoshop Fix. So this is my dog, Shadow. And I didn't like that on the left, you could see my husband's arm and leash, and you can see my finger. Using just my finger on my cell phone, I was able to erase using the healing feature in Fix, so the result was on the right. That's something that takes you a long time to do in Photoshop. It takes, I've heard people say anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes, depending on how much you want to get rid of in a photo. And I did it in 7 minutes. And then I put the two side by side in Spark Post, to have this final image. Now this one, again, you can tell my dog is my child. I took 2 photos and combined them. So this is a vacation photo from Florida here, and a photo of Shadow ice fishing. First, I got rid of his shadow on the snow and the leaf, and then I cut him out. So I used Fix to get rid of that. Then I went to Mix, and I cut him out of the photo. I used the cutout feature, and I added him to my Florida photo. Oops. And then I went back to Fix, and I hid his paw behind the lounge chair. And the last thing I did was I went to Lightroom, and unfortunately, when you have a black dog, you lose the definition in his face. So I also lightened the features on him. It's not professional looking by any means, but it's the fact that I was able to do it in 25 minutes using my finger. So to kind of bring this all together, it's about scaffolding the apps, right? I'm showing you a ton today, but it's going from Spark all the way up to what they're using in the entertainment industry. So start in 5th grade and use Spark Video to create a book report for your language arts class. Then in 8th grade, you move on to Premiere Rush to present a research project for science. And then you go to your junior year of high school and you use the full Premiere Pro to create a compelling and engaging biology report. And notice, none of those are art classes that I referenced. So, don't silo yourself. If you don't teach a graphic design or a media or a photography class, that should not stop you. I was an English major and have been in sales for 20 years, selling to the education space. And when I took this job 4.5 years ago, I was scared to death. I was like, oh my God, I have to learn Creative Cloud. I have no idea. These mobile apps allow you to get in and learn things like layers and healing and cutouts and things like that, that then makes the other full apps way less daunting. So any questions on this section? All right, now let's say you have Creative Cloud, or you even sign up for the free apps. How do you get in and use it? Kind of important, right? Now, you guys are all set up. If you have a purchase, or Stephen, maybe you can chime in if they wanted Spark. I know that everyone can be utilizing your G Suite single sign-on. So you will need to use your school email address that the education system, connects to your Adobe products and services with G Suite. You'll enter your school email address here on the sign-in box. So this is, let's say you have the Creative Cloud icon. You can see I have the icon here. When you open that, it will ask you to log in, plug in your school email, and click continue. Do not use, even though you have G Suite, do not use continue with Google or continue with Facebook. That will take them and ask for their personal account, and it will not use the single sign-on. So make sure everyone always clicks continue. Then you'll enter, if you don't have your single sign-on set up, it'll ask you for your password. If you do have single sign-on set up and you're in the console, you'll be redirected to your school's single sign-on login page. So it's not true single sign-on, but at least you can use the same password that you use for everything else. If it doesn't redirect you to your school single sign-on page, that means you're not in the admin console and you need to reach out to IT. Because you won't actually see this box if you're in the console. Now, if for some reason, actually, Gail, this would be a great example for you. You have that personal account from adobe.com. Let's say you get Spark and you're added to the admin console. Stephen, you will also see this. Anybody that's an admin in the admin console will see this. You'll have both a personal and an official account associated with the school. So if for some reason you see the option to select an account, you will always choose company or school account to access what the education system has purchased. So Gail, for you, you would use personal account for the one you bought for yourself, and then you would use company or school account for the one that is provided by the education system. They share the same email address, but they're distinct accounts, and no data is transferred between the two. Questions on signing in at school? Okay.
So
Now,
where do we go to get this started? So
you
when we're
will,
heading, like you have the little page brought up right now. So if I want to find this on the website right now, what would I type in to get to this login page?
well, that depends. So let me log out so you can see. So I have the Creative Cloud icon because I have Creative Cloud downloaded on my computer. So if the education system has given you access, you will have this icon already, and that's what you'll click on where you'll see it. So I apologize, this is spinning. But all you'll do is click on that Creative Cloud icon that you see here in the lower right. So there's your sign-in screen. So literally you click on it and it pops up here. That's if you're at school or on a school device where IT has given you the software. Now, what I'm going to switch to next is what if you're signing in from home? What if you need to download it for the first time? Is that where you're going with that
Yeah, that
question?
sounds good. I'm just trying to
Okay.
follow along with you, so I was trying
Yeah,
to.
no, not a problem. So that's if you've gotten a managed package, which means IT has forced it onto your computer, right? When you're sleeping or computer refresh, whatever, you'll have the icon. If you don't have the icon, but you've been assigned a license, you will have just slightly different steps. You'll go to adobe.com and then you will click sign in the upper right-hand corner. Okay. So this is if you don't have the icon, but you have been assigned a license. So go to adobe.com and sign in. You'll enter your email. It will still authenticate with your single sign-on. So you'll use your single sign-on password, and then you will see this screen.
Nicole, do you mind if I just chime in for a sec?
Absolutely.
Yeah, how we configured it on the the Adobe admin console is that we actually continue with Google. So we continue with Google, and you would enter your GNESPES account after at the Google splash screen, and then that would redirect you to the GNESPES login, and that's how you gain access to your Adobe account.
Okay, because I've been told that if you do that when at school, it will not work. You have made that work?
Interesting. We've tested it. Well, we've all been working at home, so I don't know if any of the regional centers for education were able to test it directly in school. So it's a very good question. So
Yeah.
I would have to bring that with the regional managers.
It does, yeah, because it does work when you're doing it from home.
Oh,
But
perfect.
if you're doing it on a managed package device, one that you have pushed the software to, that's where it won't work. You will actually get a login error.
Gotcha. Crystal clear.
So it could just be because of how, like the fact that everyone's from home right now, so these rules are applying.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because the continue with Google button will work when you're at home. If you're downloading it yourself. Does that make sense? So it's whether they download it themselves or you push the package that makes the difference.
No, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. So let's say you are from home though. and you need to download it for the first time. You're going to click open here, because this is on your account page now. And then you're going to download. You're going to get the desktop app. And that's what this is. Oops, it helps if I log in again. Yeah. Okay, so maybe not right now because I don't have my email open. But it's going to look like this screen right here. And you see how you've got Photoshop? It says update. When you're brand new, it'll actually say download. And this little ellipses menu right here, it will let you go to older versions. So let's say you have students that can't run the latest Photoshop. Maybe their home computer isn't robust enough. You can go back to version 2018. So it's a great way to, be able to let people still use the product, because I know equity is a big discussion right now. If they can't handle the newest version, there's still a way to let them use it by going back, because the old version, the 2018 version, doesn't require anything special. It's Windows 7. There's the RAM requirements are much more limited. It's just way easier. And I forgot my password. So I don't have anything open. I was going to show it to you. Let me hold on, see if I can.
Cool. I also had an issue with my Mac Air because it's an older model and it runs on the version 10.10.5 and it wouldn't. So you have to have a newer version than the iOS of 10.10.5.
Yeah, 10.10.5, you can run version 2018 with that. 10.10.2 is the oldest, but that's only version 2018. Have you tried going back to that older version?
No, I didn't try going back.
Okay, try that, because I actually just walked through all the system requirements and all that with a different school yesterday, and so I know that it will work. It's the older one. Yeah, of course, none of these passwords are right. All right, I'm not going to waste my time on that. If we have time at the end, I'll go back. Any other questions on logging in or getting it to work? Now, when you guys do log in, no, you're going to see things like Behance out here, or what's the other one? Portfolio. Behance and Portfolio are turned off for K12 due to privacy. Okay. Behance is kind of it's a LinkedIn for creatives, and Portfolio is where you create your digital portfolio, kind of like a resume, more applicable to college students. And unfortunately, both of those features, we consider those services, online services, there is age inappropriate material in both, and therefore they are turned off. So just note that when you get the desktop app that looks like this, that those things, you're going to click on them and they're not going to work. Okay, so don't be surprised. If something doesn't work, it's probably because of privacy issues for students. All right, so what's there to support you guys? I know I'm giving you a lot of information, but what next? The first thing that's available to you is Education Exchange. You can use your same login. It's completely free. You will have to create an account, but this is a one-stop shop for training, course curriculum materials, forums and workshops, professional development, lesson plans, you name it, it is out here. You can select whether you want to learn, teach, discuss, or connect. So learn is training. Teaching will give you lesson plan and curriculum ideas. Discuss is forums. You can just discuss with other teachers. And connect is workshops or PD. You choose which one of the four you want to do. You choose the app, and then you choose what course area. So you could choose, I want to learn how to use Premiere Pro for English class, or I want to discuss Photoshop in education. Any combination you choose. You can also search and find whatever you want. A big thing that's on Education Exchange is professional development. Now, this site is going to be completely revamped in a couple weeks to include even more distance learning and PD material. Adobe has actually partnered with a company that travels and does professional development. Well, you can imagine that company is almost closed its doors because they can't travel. How do you do PD right now? We've always had online PD, but we're going to make it even better. So for professional development, we have courses that range from 30 minutes to 6 hours. You can do live, you can do self-guided. Every single topic, subject area, application, you name it, is included. And it's only going to get better. So if you need training, if you need PD hours, if you need credit, this all counts. So know that this is all out there on the Education Exchange. Another subset, or another resource, I should say, available to you is Creative Cloud tutorials. If you just want to get a crash course on Photoshop for beginners, here's a 21-minute video that'll walk you through using the app. We've got it for beginner and experienced. All apps are covered. These are located at this link here. And again, this is all included in the deck that I uploaded for you guys. But what's even more than the tutorials here is there's tutorials built into the applications themselves. So you can actually be working in Photoshop, and on the lower right-hand side, it'll say, do you need help? Or click here to get a 3-minute training on how to use the healing feature. So the help is always there. That was one of the big things that Adobe added a couple years ago, was these built-in tutorials within the app, so that you're not in the middle of doing something, you get stuck, and then you have to go to another browser and Google a YouTube video. It's built right into the app. The last resource available to you is my favorite. We launched this last April when COVID hit. Adobe did a mad dash to get a distance learning site up to help you guys. This is not Adobe focused. There's more than that out there. Adobe really wanted to help provide resources to arm you in your distance learning challenges. So there's a ton of topics out here. There's talks and webinars. There's live learning events. There's example of sessions like how to empower students to creatively express themselves, or how to do podcasting for students, or how to build a global classroom. Those are not Adobe specific. They're just tools to help you. There's another section on projects and activities. It's intended for use by educators, but also for parents. It features activities they can do with their kids at home. Some of those projects, there's an Adobe coloring book that I've actually printed off and colored myself. They've been doing a new chapter of the Adobe coloring book every week since April. There's Save the Oceans Creative Challenge. There's a United Nations for students walkthrough explaining the importance of oceans. There's a course articles and blogs section where you'll find resources on how to run online events for students, how to record instructional videos, or how to use the Adobe Scan app to submit homework assignments. The one that I think is the most compassionate for Adobe to do is this well-being resources for educators. It is so important for educators to practice self-care and have community support right now. You guys have had to completely flip your entire world to teach these students. This section includes meditation guides, how to maintain work-life balance, and a course from Yale University on the science of well-being, just to touch on a few. The big thing about this distance learning site that you're going to see translate over to Education Exchange with this revamp is a partnership with the Khan Academy. I didn't realize how known the Khan Academy was. It's a nonprofit organization that specializes in online learning, and we've partnered with them. So they're focused on goal setting. There's projects for courses, like, for example, how to design a cell for biology class, creating pamphlets advertising the French Revolution for history class. The Khan Academy is going to become more and more prevalent in all of Adobe's online resources. So there's just a ton out there to help you guys. If there's one place you start right now, I feel like it should be the distance learning site, because it is part of Education Exchange and it will tie you back to the larger site if you need help. But just know that there are resources there to arm you. You are not in this alone. You've got all these applications available for use, but you know, how do you get started? That's what the Education Exchange and this distance learning site are for. So that is all the slides and the material I had to cover.